Look at this lesson 339. It says, I will receive whatever I request. And let's not look at this from the standpoint of the physical form. The course isn't talking about the physical world. If you notice, these workbook lessons rarely have anything to do with the physical world. They're all about your thoughts. Because your thoughts are what make the physical world. Your thoughts create the world that you see. You are the maker, as the course would say, of your physical world. So we need to deal with the cause of this world, and the cause of this world is not out there. The cause of this world is in your own consciousness, wherever your mind is. I always point to my head, but this is really your brain, right? It's the thinking part of you. Where is that thinking part? I'm not exactly sure. You know, the real thinking part that makes this world. But basically this idea is you create this experience of the world by the thoughts that you hold on to. And I'm not talking about the form of those thoughts. I'm talking about dealing with the cause. Because the form, and don't say, well, what about this form or what about that form? What about wars or what about famine? I'm not talking about that. I want to deal with your thoughts of attack and your thoughts of loss. That's what we want to deal with, and that's what this is dealing with. So it says, no one desires pain, but he can think that pain is pleasurable. Right? We probably have all experienced that, where we've thought, and kind of a bad habit of something that we thought was pleasurable. People who are in the AA programs probably thought at one point or another the things that they were doing were pleasurable. And breaking that habit is a difficult thing. Now, I look at people who may be alcoholics or drugs or sexual addictions, but you know what? We're all addicted. It's 339. Yeah. We're all addicted. We all have an addictive nature. So we're addicted to the world, if you will. You know, we're addicted to the reality of this world, and that's what we're stuck into. So we have already, if you can't think of something that you have misplaced pain with pleasure, it's the world. You think that the world is going to give you something, and we spend a great deal of our time investing in the things of the world. That's why I said I don't want you to think about the things of the world. I want you to deal with your thoughts about the world, because your thoughts are what make the world you see. It's not the other way around. You are that maker of the world. The world isn't happening to you. You are making the world you see. That's the premise of the course. It's the premise of every spiritual truth there is. It is the same premise that even Jesus spoke about. So, no one would avoid happiness, yet he can think that joy is painful, threatening, and dangerous. So what we have done, and this is what we've been talking about, is God has, the salvation for the world for us, the love of God, has appeared frightening to us because of the images we've bought into. We've bought into a lot of images about God that are not true. Oh, I've told you so many of them over the years. I mean, I look at Noah's Ark. You know, it's a good example. You know, that lines this little, beautiful little, docile little ark that lines most babies' nurseries is the most vicious story of attack and death by God, if you think about it. I mean, here you got Noah, and God comes to him and says, build me an ark, put one of every, or two of every kind, you couldn't do much with one, two of every kind into that ark. I'm going to destroy the world because, after all, they're really bad. And that's a loving story to decorate a child's nursery with. I just always find that kind of odd. But it's a habit, right? It's a habit that we've gotten used to. Okay, so we have this story, and what ends up happening? God floods the world, destroys all the bad people, saves one of each so we can repopulate the world with all these loving animals, saves Noah and his family, and boy, after they landed and found some land and everything dried up, they weren't such great people either. Believe me, the Bible even tells us that. They're not such hot shots. You know, so now, and then God says, you know, after I did that, I may have been a little rash about that movement. So I'll tell you what, I won't do that again. I will not destroy the earth, wink, wink, by flood. Now, I've got a few other things. I've got fire, I've got wind, I've got all sorts of ways to do it, but I will not do it by flood. So, okay, now we have this image of a God who, if we kind of act up, he's just going to kill us because he's got fire and earthquakes and winds and snow. I mean, yeah, yeah, global warming. We're going to all freeze to death. I got lots of ways I can get rid of you. So there's this concept we have. So when I say to you this idea, but he can think that joy is painful, threatening, and dangerous, this should not be hard for you to come up with a reason either. We're not too sure about God. And it is partly why we don't turn to him. The Course gives us these beautiful workbook lessons and these beautiful truths about God, that his love for us is infinite and with us forever. Why would we not run into those arms? I'm not too sure about him. Wink, wink. We don't know. We don't trust him. We don't believe, I think, in some ways, that we're worthy of love.